Have you ever seen a woman walk into a room and without saying a word, every head turns? It's not the dress, it's not the heels. It's something deeper, something in the way she wears herself. Because the truth is, what men find most irresistible in older women isn't about showing more skin or chasing trends. It's about the quiet power of presence, of elegance, of knowing exactly who you are and dressing like it. Confidence is one of the most magnetic and intoxicating traits a person can possess. And when it comes to older women, it's not just an accessory, it becomes a part of their very presence. Men notice when a woman walks into a room and owns it without saying a word. It's not about what she's wearing in terms of fabric or color, but how she carries herself in it. You see, confidence is a silent language. It shows up in posture. The way she stands tall, relaxed shoulders, unafraid to take up space. It's in her pace when she walks, slow and deliberate, as if she's not rushing to prove herself to anyone. She doesn't fidget or second guess her movements. She's not adjusting her dress constantly or wondering if people are watching. She knows they are. And she doesn't need their validation to feel valuable. Confidence in older women often comes from lived experience. She has likely been through heartbreak, rejection, achievements, and setbacks. But through all of it, she's learned not to apologize for who she is. That makes her dangerous in the most beautiful way. A man might glance at a younger woman because of how bold her outfit is, but his eyes linger on the older woman who radiates something deeper. She might be wearing a simple black dress, but the way she smiles like she's holding a secret, or the calm in her eyes that says, "I've seen enough to know what really matters," that is what captivates him. And this confidence isn't performative. It doesn't try to be sexy. It simply is. There's no trying to impress, no over-the-top gestures. It's in how she says no without fear. It's in how she compliments others without feeling threatened. It's in how she sits cross-legged, relaxed, sipping her drink, unbothered by who's watching. It's how she doesn't laugh too hard to please or speak too softly to avoid being heard. Her energy says, "I'm not here to be chosen, I'm here because I choose to be." That shift changes everything. Men feel it instantly because while many chase beauty, what they remember is presence. Confidence, worn like a second skin, communicates emotional independence, maturity, and high standards. It says, "I've already chosen myself. You'll have to meet me at my level." And the right man, he'll rise to meet her there. That's what makes confidence not just attractive, but irresistible. It's not just what she wears, it's how she wears herself. And that's a style no trend can ever replicate. There's something undeniably captivating about elegance that leaves a little room for imagination. It's not about showing less or more, it's about knowing what to reveal and what to keep just out of sight. Older women often master this balance without even trying. Their sensuality doesn't scream, it whispers. And in that quiet, there's power. It's in the way a silk blouse slides softly across her shoulders, catching just a bit of light as she moves. The fabric doesn't hug every curve, it grazes them, hinting at the shape of her body rather than declaring it. That subtlety draws people in. It creates intrigue, because elegance like that tells a man there's more to discover. But he'll have to earn the right to see it. This kind of mystery isn't just physical, it's emotional too. It's in the way she speaks with calm self-assurance, offering just enough of herself in a conversation while keeping the rest tucked away. She doesn't lay all her cards on the table at once, and that creates a magnetic pull. She knows the power of curiosity, and she lets it work in her favor. A backless dress at dinner doesn't need a plunging neckline to be sexy. It's the contrast between coverage and exposure that heightens the allure. It's the knowledge that not everyone gets to see every side of her. She's selective with her energy, and that discernment becomes its own kind of seduction. Men respond to this more than they often realize. In a world full of instant gratification and loud displays, a woman who keeps some mystery becomes unforgettable. Her style doesn't beg for attention, but it gets it anyway. A fitted blazer, a high slit that only shows itself when she walks, a long coat draped over her shoulders. All of these choices hint at depth. They don't reveal the whole story, and that's the point. She invites curiosity, not judgment. She invites attention, not performance. Elegance with mystery also shows up in the way she accessorizes. Maybe it's a soft scarf she wears around her neck that frames her face just right, or a pair of vintage sunglasses that hide her eyes while still revealing a subtle smirk. She knows how to leave an impression not by overexposing, but by understating just enough. And while the physical presentation matters, what's even more attractive is the confidence behind it. She's not using her clothes to impress others, she's using them to reflect how she already feels about herself. That level of self-awareness and self-control, paired with an innate understanding of the power of subtlety, makes her completely mesmerizing. A man doesn't just notice what she's wearing, he notices the experience of wondering about her. She becomes the kind of woman who stays in his thoughts long after the room clears, not because she gave everything away, but because she gave just enough to make him want more. There's a unique kind of sexiness that emerges when a woman dresses in a way that's fully aligned with who she is. Not to impress, not to compete, not to hide, but to express. And that kind of authenticity can't be replicated. It's effortless and yet incredibly powerful. For older women, this often comes naturally over time. After years of trying different styles, following trends, and dressing for approval, many reach a point where they simply stop asking, "What should I wear?" and start asking, "What feels like me?" That shift changes everything. Imagine a woman in her 40s wearing a pair of well-fitted jeans, a crisp white t-shirt, and her favorite leather boots. There's nothing extravagant about it, but when she steps into a room, there's something grounded and undeniably attractive about her. She's not trying to look younger. She's not trying to prove she still has it. She's just being herself. And that quiet confidence, rooted in authenticity, draws people in. Men sense it. They're drawn to the fact that she's not trying too hard. She's already at ease in her own skin. This authenticity also shows up in the way she chooses pieces that tell a story. Maybe it's a scarf she bought while traveling, a worn-in jacket that's seen a few seasons of her life, or a necklace that reminds her of someone she once loved deeply. These items aren't just accessories, they carry meaning. And when she wears them, they become part of her energy. Men are instinctively drawn to women who carry layers of memory, of emotion, of self, of knowledge. And when her style reflects those layers, it becomes more than clothing, it becomes character. Another part of effortless authenticity is how she lets go of the need for approval. She wears what feels good, what fits her body now, what suits her lifestyle and her mood. She's not constantly checking mirrors or comparing herself to others. She doesn't need the outside world to confirm that she's beautiful, because her sense of beauty is already internalized. And that, in itself, is captivating. Men often don't know how to describe it, but they'll say things like, "There's just something about her." That something is realness. It's freedom. It's the energy of someone who knows who she is and doesn't need to ask for permission to show up as her full self. Even when she dresses up for a date or a special occasion, it's never about putting on a mask. It's about enhancing the person she already is. She's not trying to become someone else. She's simply celebrating herself. And men don't just see that. They feel it, because authenticity doesn't shout. It resonates. It reminds people that there's nothing sexier than someone who knows themselves and has nothing to prove. It's not flashy or forced, it's subtle, raw, and real. That's why authenticity, when worn like a favorite outfit, becomes one of the most attractive things a woman can embody. There's a deep, unspoken confidence that radiates from a woman who dresses for her own comfort. Not in a careless way, but in a way that honors her body, her lifestyle, and her peace of mind. When a woman feels physically good in what she's wearing, that feeling flows through her movements, her posture, her mood. There's no need for constant adjusting or fidgeting. No anxiety about how she's being perceived. She's simply present, and that presence is powerful. Men notice it, not because she's showing more skin or wearing something tight, but because she moves like someone who's not trying too hard. Comfort, especially in older women, becomes a declaration of self-worth. It says, I value my experience over expectation. A soft, loose-fitting dress that moves with her, a pair of shoes that let her walk with ease, a top that feels gentle against her skin. These aren't just fashion choices. They're emotional choices. They reflect a woman who's learned that real attractiveness comes from how she feels, not just how she looks. And when she feels good, she carries herself differently. Her energy is relaxed, grounded, magnetic. Men are often drawn to this energy, even if they can't articulate why. It's the sense that she's not trying to prove anything. She's not dressing for the male gaze. She's dressing in a way that aligns with her mood, her day, her needs. That kind of self-respect is deeply attractive because it tells a man that she's not seeking his validation. She's already affirmed herself, and that gives him permission to relax too. There's no performance, no pressure, just authenticity. Comfort also allows her personality to come through more clearly. When you're not distracted by how you feel in your clothes, you can be more emotionally available, more present in conversation, more playful, more expressive. She laughs more freely, moves more naturally, and connects more deeply. That freedom becomes part of her sex appeal. It's not in the high heels or the low neckline, it's in the way she's able to truly show up and enjoy herself. What many people overlook is how sensual comfort can be. A soft cashmere sweater that invites touch, a robe tied loosely at the waist on a slow morning, a button-down shirt borrowed from someone she once loved, worn open just enough to catch attention without trying. These are moments where comfort and sensuality meet, and that combination is incredibly alluring. It's subtle, but powerful. It's not about being put together perfectly. It's about feeling so at home in your own skin that everything you wear simply adds to your essence. When comfort becomes a standard rather than a luxury, it reflects a deeper truth, that a woman understands her worth isn't based on suffering for beauty. And when a man sees that, when he sees a woman who treats her own well-being as a non-negotiable, he instinctively views her as someone who's already whole, someone who can't be swayed by trends or pressure, someone who is, in every sense of the word, attractive. There's a quiet seduction in the details, a kind of intimacy that doesn't shout for attention but lingers in memory. When a woman embraces the small, thoughtful touches in the way she dresses, she invites someone to look closer, to notice what others might miss. Men often can't explain why a certain woman stays in their minds, but more often than not, it's because of the way she made them feel through the tiniest, most intentional parts of how she presented herself. A delicate chain that rests gently at her collarbone, the scent of her perfume that remains in the air even after she's left the room, the soft rustle of her blouse as she moves. These are the kinds of things that stay with someone long after first impressions fade. Older women in particular have an incredible ability to use detail not as decoration, but as self-expression. She's not over-accessorized, she's not trying too hard, but everything she chooses to wear says something about her experiences, her style, her presence. A bold lip color isn't just makeup, it's a statement. A pair of classic earrings isn't just jewelry, it's a signature. There's a kind of emotional richness in these small choices that reflects a life lived with intention. And men feel that. They may not always say it, but they notice the way she carries herself with subtle elegance. The way her watch peeks out from under her sleeve. The way her nails are always carefully manicured, even if short and simple. These details create emotional texture. They make her memorable in a way that feels personal, because when a man starts noticing those little things, it's not just about what she's wearing, it's about how she makes him feel. Maybe it's the way her voice pairs perfectly with the softness of her scarf, or the way her scent becomes associated with comfort, attraction, and warmth. These aren't loud gestures, they're whispers of identity, quietly reminding him that this woman knows herself and chooses every piece with care. The sexiness of detail also speaks to how much a woman values herself. She's not dressing to fit someone else's idea of what's attractive. She's dressing in a way that makes her feel grounded, radiant, and seen by the person who matters most, herself. There's power in that kind of presence. A man who notices a woman's attention to detail understands that she lives with awareness. She's mindful. She pays attention. And that awareness, when directed toward a relationship, becomes incredibly intimate and rewarding. Every detail, when chosen with intention, becomes a part of her story. A story that unfolds not in big dramatic gestures, but in glances, in scents, in the brush of a fabric, or the curve of a smile. And the man who takes the time to notice those things doesn't just see a woman who looks good, he sees a woman who feels good, lives fully, and communicates volumes without ever raising her voice. Timeless femininity is not about chasing trends or dressing like someone else. It's about embracing the kind of beauty that never fades, the kind rooted in grace, poise, and presence. For older women, this kind of style often becomes second nature. After years of trying on different versions of themselves, they eventually settle into a look that feels like home, one that speaks softly but powerfully to who they truly are. And what makes this so magnetic to men is that it feels effortless yet deeply intentional. She's not dressing for attention, she's dressing from a place of self-respect and quiet confidence. There's something undeniably attractive about a woman who knows the kind of clothing that honors her body without having to reveal every inch of it. It could be the flow of a soft cashmere sweater that moves gently with her, or the way a classic wrap dress accentuates her curves without clinging too tightly. These aren't loud fashion choices, but they have impact. They suggest sensuality without demanding it. They invite admiration, not because of what's being shown, but because of the way everything is being held, with care, with elegance, and with a deep sense of self-understanding. Timeless femininity also shows up in the textures and fabrics she chooses. She favors what feels good on the skin, what moves gracefully with her body, what breathes with her instead of restricting her. A silk scarf, a well-tailed coat, a soft blouse tucked just right. These are pieces that don't age. They evolve with her. Men are drawn to this because it reflects stability and maturity. It says she knows who she is and she doesn't need to prove anything to anyone. The choices she makes aren't about being seen, they're about feeling good. And that self-assurance is seductive in a way that youthful insecurity never can be. Then there's the way she moves in these clothes. Slow, intentional, never rushed. She takes her time. Whether she's walking across a room, reaching for her bag, or crossing her legs, every motion is deliberate, almost poetic. Men don't just notice how she looks. They feel something around her. They feel that they are in the presence of someone who has lived, learned, and refined herself with time. Heels might not be as high anymore, but the way she stands in them commands more attention than ever. Her makeup might be minimal, but it highlights her features rather than hiding them. Her jewelry might be fewer in number, but each piece means something. Every part of how she presents herself speaks to a deeper truth, that she's not trying to be anyone else. She's rooted, she's real, she's arrived at a version of femininity that doesn't expire with age. It only deepens, only becomes richer, only grows more magnetic with time. And men are not just attracted to that, they're moved by it. Because in a world constantly chasing what's new, timeless always feels rare, and rare always feels unforgettable. So what truly makes an older woman irresistibly sexy isn't found on a clothing rack or in a trend report. It's found in how she carries her story. It's the confidence she's earned through experience, the mystery she allows without fear, the authenticity she lives without apology, the comfort she chooses as an act of self-love, the subtle details she honors with intention, and the timeless femininity she embodies without needing permission. Men may be initially drawn to looks, but what keeps them captivated is the energy a woman brings into the room. It's the way she makes others feel. It's the quiet power of someone who knows who she is and doesn't shrink for anyone. That's not just attractive, it's unforgettable. Whether you're single, in love, healing, or rediscovering yourself, remember this: you are not defined by your age, your past, or your wardrobe. You are defined by how much of yourself you're willing to own. The sexiest thing you can ever wear is your truth, wrapped in self-respect, lit by confidence, and sealed with grace. And the right man, he won't just notice your clothes. You'll recognize the woman who chose them.